this is Ben with Sierra Repair, and today I'm going to be showing you how to winterize your 4-stroke lawnmower. The first thing we're going to want to do is we're just going to want to grab a little blue towel and some soap and just clean off any dirt or grass that you see around your mower. Just spray a little bit on top and just give it a good old wipe down and make sure that you clean up the surface area of your mower. You can also clean up by your handles as well if you want. Now that you got your deck all cleaned off and you just cleaned off your surface area of your mower, you're going to want to go on ahead and undo your spark plug. You're just going to want to do that just to make sure that it never has a chance to start up accidentally when you're working on it. What you're going to want to do next is you're going to flip over your mower on its side and you're going to want to clean off the grass underneath the deck. Now, pro tip, what you're going to want to always do is make sure you always have your air filter facing up or put your dipstick or the oil drain towards the ground. You don't want to tip your dipstick towards you because then all your oil is going to start draining into your engine and into your carburetor, and then that's just going to make it not work. So always tip it over on air filter facing upward, and then you'll just want to clean off the bottom of your deck and get all that grass and gunk out of there. This is also a good time to check and see if your blade's a little dull to see if it needs to get it sharpened. Alright, so next we're going to want to locate where your air filter is, and we're going to want to take that off and just take a look at it and see how it's looking. So as you pop your air filter off, you're just going to want to examine it, and you're just going to want to look and make sure that it's not too dirty. As you can see, we have a little bit of oil buildup right here, and so it's probably going to need a new air filter. But you know, if you look at it and it just doesn't seem like it has too much dirt or debris on it, you can try and blow it off a little bit and clean it up, and if it seems good to go, then you probably be okay. But if it has a couple stains on it or something like that, you're probably just going to want to replace it. So keep that in mind when you are doing your winterization on your mower. So then we're just going to want to go on ahead and also then take off the air cover. And then you're just going to want to pull that cover off and just set it off to the side for a second. Now we're going to be working on getting your fuel out of your mower. Now for this next part, you're going to be wanting just a pair of normal pliers, a can to dump your gas in, and then just a little tube line to connect to your fuel line to run the gas out. So when you come down to your carburetor, there's going to be a little clip that holds your fuel line on. You just want to move that on out of the way. Now sometimes that fuel line can be a little tricky coming off, so I just grabbed a little screwdriver to help me. Make sure your fuel line's ready to go. And then while your fuel's draining, you can just let that go and make sure that you just let that fuel completely drain out of your tank. Now that your fuel is completely drained out of your gas tank, what you're going to want to do is take your fuel line back off. And then once that's off, you're going to want to reinstall your original fuel line to the carburetor. And then you're also going to want to reconnect that little clip on there so that your fuel line doesn't slip off. Now that your fuel line's back attached to your carburetor, you're going to want to make sure that you discard your old gasoline safely and legally. My best recommendation is if you just are draining out your mower like I am right now, go ahead and just take whatever little bit is left and just dump it into your car. That way you don't have to worry about getting rid of it properly, and you can just get a little bit extra gas in your car. Also, if you spill a little bit like I did, make sure you go on ahead and wipe it up and try and make sure that there's no loose gasoline on your ground or floor or garage. Now we're going to go on ahead and put back on our air cover. Alright, now that your first air cover's on, you're going to want to take your air filter and snap that back into place. Then you'll want to reconnect your spark plug. Pull the handle down, give it a good pull, and then you're going to want to let it run until it dies, because what you're doing now is you're going to want all the gas and everything that's built up in your carburetor, you want that to completely run out dry and just let it die out on its own, and that way you know your machine is completely dry, and then you can store it for the winter. But one last thing, while you're doing it, since you're already down and you're doing the work and you're getting your gas out of your mower, you might as well change your spark plug and change your oil as well, unless you just want to wait until the spring to do it, but it's up to you. Next, we're going to be talking about fuel stabilizers. We did a little bit more advanced knowledge and just tips and tricks about fuel stabilizer in our fuel knowledge video on Mowing Along episode number 2 if you wanted to check that out. But fuel stabilizer, does it work? Yeah, it does work, but what you have to do is you can't just willy-nilly pour whatever you want into your mower. You have to read your directions carefully and then make sure you're doing the appropriate amount for however size fuel tank you have, or if you're going to be putting it into a gas can, just make sure you read the directions carefully. Now, for example, like on this Briggs & Stratton fuel stabilizer brand, if you want to store it for up to 24 months, it's going to be a ½ ounce per 2.5 gallons or the whole ounce for 36 months. So just depending on what you want and how long you're going to need your fuel to be stabilized for, you'll just base it off of that. But how it works is you'll get your directions. Let's just say I have a 2.5 gallon gas can. I'll just pour ½ an ounce in there to last me up to 24 months, because that's plenty of time for the winter. Pour that ½ ounce in there, put 2.5 gallons of fresh gas in there, and then it'll be, and that's all. That's it. That's all you got to do to it, and it'll be nice, and it will be stabilized for you, and you shouldn't run into any issues with your fuel. However, when you want to do it with the mower, you'll put however much again is needed, read the directions carefully, and then you're going to want to fill your fuel tank up to the top, and then you're going to want to let it run from anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes and just really let that stabilizer mix in with that fuel and let it get all throughout all your fuel lines, all of your carburetor, everywhere in your machine that it needs. And then after that 15 minutes or so, you're going to want to repeat the process from the beginning of the video. Drain that fuel out, put it in a nice safe container, discard it legally and effectively, and then you're going to want to do the same thing again. Run it until it dies. You're just going to want to pull the string and then run it until it dies, and then that way you have that stabilizer coated inside of your carburetor and inside of your fuel lines, and it should keep everything nice and moist, and that way nothing will happen to it. I have also seen that people will also put the appropriate amount of fuel stabilizer in their tank, put the gas in there, let it run for a couple of minutes, and then you're also good to just leave the gas in your mower at that point. But for me, I personally recommend just draining it out dry. That way you know you don't have anything left in there to get all gummy and sugary and mess up your carburetor. Another alternative to all of that is just canned gas. As you can see, this canned gas, we have the VP brand. It's ethanol free, so you won't have to really worry about too much about your gas breaking down and ruining your machine. So what I like to recommend is that you can use regular gas just from the pump throughout the season, throughout the spring and summer, and just mow your lawn regularly. And then once you're getting ready to do your first or second to last mow, I would just pour a little bit of this can gas into your mower and then start it up, do your last mow or your second to last mow, whatever you're going to be doing. And then once you're finished, you're done, you did your last cut of the season, you're going to be putting it away. Then there should only be a little bit left in that tank, and then again, run it dry completely out, and then that way there's no fuel just sitting in your fuel tank or in your carburetor, but you did have nice, clean, ethanol-free fuel run through all your fuel lines and your carburetor, so then once you pull it out for the springtime again, you shouldn't have any issues starting it up. Now, if you're watching this video and you're thinking you don't really want to do the winterization yourself, if you bring your mower into Sierra Repair during the winter months, it's standard that we just winterize our machines. Like if you bring it in December, we'll just winterize it for you, part of the service, and that way you can just take it home, unload it out of your truck or car, put it in the garage or in your shed in a nice, warm, dry, safe place. And then that way, once the springtime rolls around again, you won't be trying to push it into the shop and try and get it fixed up so you can mow your lawn. Also, again, like I mentioned earlier, while you're doing all of this, you might as well just refer to your owner's manual and figure out which spark plug you'll need and change that spark plug out, and also drain your oil out and just change your oil. That way it's all done, so when the springtime comes, you can put nice fresh gas into your mower, give it 1 or 2 pulls, and it should start up for you. Alright, and with that being said, your winterization should be done. You can go on ahead and just pop your spark plug back on in there and then put it in a nice, warm, safe, dry place, either in your garage or in a shed, somewhere like that. Don't leave it outside because then it will just get weathered and then probably end up breaking anyway, so make sure you have it in a nice, good location. But I think that's all we have for you today. This was Ben with Sierra Repair. If you have any questions or concerns, go ahead and drop a comment down below. We'll be answering any questions you guys have. And if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and leave a like and consider subscribing to our channel. And we try and upload a video about every other week. Thanks again, guys.